Let's go back to the phone lines, and we'll talk next to James, listening in Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, James.
Hi, Hank. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
Pope Francis made mention about the status of animals as far as having souls, and basically implied that animals can possibly go to heaven. Now, that seems kind of suspect to me, and I don't necessarily hold to any of the Catholic beliefs, but in the article I was reading, there was apparently some mention he made in one of Paul's epistles that sort of backed up what he said, but I couldn't find out what that was. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he did. I remember the story. It was the comforting of a boy whose dog had died, and he said something to the effect of, one day you will see that dog in the eternity of Christ, and that, in his view, paradise would be open to all of God's creatures. And I do agree. I think some of the keenest thinkers throughout church history have had that same opinion. And by the way, I would also add that the scriptures from first to last suggest that animals do have souls. I mean, Moses in Genesis, John in Revelation, they communicate that the Creator endowed animals with souls. But there has to be a qualification there, because the soul of an animal is qualitatively different from the soul of a human. And so you could say there's reasonable doubt that it can survive the death of the body, but there's also, I think, ample evidence for the notion that just as animals populated the Garden of Eden, there's precedent for believing animals will populate Eden restored.
Okay, but I mean, doesn't that open the door for, would that mean that all animals go to heaven, including insects? And, what are we talking about here? To me, it just sort of seems like it's, something that he said that was to comfort this child, but I don't know, to say that that's a possibility just raises a lot of questions in my mind.
I think it would seem incredible that God would banish animals from Paradise Restored, quite frankly. I remember Peter Kreeft, who is also a Catholic theologian, saying that it was irrational to have a prejudice that would allow green fields and flowers to be in paradise, but not animals. And so I think, while certainly this is a theological debate, and there's certainly ample room for disagreement, I, for one, consider animals some of the most wondrous and avant-garde of God's creation, and certainly would imagine that they would inhabit Paradise Restored. There are some texts in the Bible that would seem to point in that direction as well, although I wouldn't want to be too literalistic with them. For example, the words of Isaiah, the wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, a little child will lead them, and so forth. Again, I don't want to press the language more than is warranted, but I think there are some hints that animals may be in heaven, and I think the overall paradigm of Paradise Lost becoming Paradise Restored points in that direction as well. But as I said, there's a lot of debate even within Roman Catholicism on this point. Pope John Paul II, back in 1990, said that animals do have souls. Pope Benedict the 16th seemed to contend that animals do not have souls. So there's a debate within Roman Catholicism, just as there is within Protestantism and Orthodoxy on this point. But many theologians, early church fathers, believed that animals would be in Paradise Restored.